I do not like the fact that you call it a cult and you call yourself a cult leader, because cults by definition discourage free thinking. Hamza, very, very excited to get into this podcast today. Thank you for coming on, by the way. Really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to do this. And let's just start off with, a brief introduction about yourself, what you do right now, what you would consider yourself to be, I guess. It's kind of hard to title ourselves with what we do, So what would you consider yourself to be?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm grateful for the invite. So I have a self-improvement YouTube channel that's turned more into a cult now. And we're a cult of young men who refuse to fap, watch porn, go onto social media, waste hours on like video games and Netflix. And we strive to be more like what we see as the ultimate man. And we see that in someone called Adonis. And we usually when you think of our pursuit, it kind of gets ruined by the alpha male concepts online. And usually that's got quite a negative image. So we're trying to bring about a lot of more of healthy masculinity, but talking a lot more about mental health on my channel.
Dope. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. Let's talk about how you got into self-improvement in the first place. Let's explain. I want to have you explain yourself, like right before you started to get into self-improvement, the types of stuff you were doing, and what was really the catalyst for you to start improving yourself and actually like realizing, I can grow as a person. I can really make something of my life. Like what do you think first started that, and who were you before all of that?
Okay. So imagine I go through my teenage years just displacing my actual real life onto video games. And there's one in particular, RuneScape, which if you're not much of a gamer, you might not know, but like there's certain games you can fully put your life onto. Like you get a virtual character where it's got like 20 skills, 30 skills. Each skill can take hundreds of hours to level up. Like literally hundreds of hours to level up. You can spend 10,000 hours on this game and not even be close to finishing it. There is no finishing a game like this. And so I got addicted to this game when I was, I think, literally 7, 8 years old. I was on the PC like nice and early, and all my teenage years, I'm literally running back home from school, just focusing on that instead of my studies, instead of anything else, social skills, relationships, till eventually age 17, my brother literally forces me to start going to the gym with him. So he built like a little like mini gym in our garage, just bench and a couple of dumbbells. And through force, I was like literally made to go in there and train and stop being a pussy. And I fell in love with it because I really just saw it as the real life version of leveling up that I was doing in the video games that I was playing. I didn't do anything else really productive for many years after that. I went into like the full on like aesthetic lifestyle, degenerate. Okay, I'm building muscle. Now I've started attracting girls. I'm going out to the club and I'm using Tinder and I'm sleeping with loads of girls. And this is also when I started thinking more about social skills and partying. But it was at age 22 and I had just done too much of that. I literally was like a full-time party fuckboy for like 4 years, 5 years, going out 3-4 times a week, smoking weed, doing a lot of drugs, till eventually no one's around, lost all those. There were never really real friendships that you meet in that environment anyway. Smoking weed just like ruined my physique and everything. You get the munchies. I was one of those like I eat the back of the cupboard snacks, like the sweets that you've literally left in there for fucking ages. I was the guy who'd eat them. And down bad. This is when my mental health was really, really horrible. I had some like traumatic events that had happened over these years with a bunch of like fights in clubs and a bunch of like racist people starting on me. So there was a lot of problems in my mind till eventually I'm just literally staying indoors all day, every day, smoking weed. And I got fed up at one point. Like, to be honest, I got fed up over the course of like months. I used to break down and cry. And the turning point for me specifically was when I discovered a free online course called The Science of Wellbeing. I used to go onto Reddit all the time, and like there was a random time that people were mentioning it, saying it was a really good course. It was just at the start of COVID, and it's like completely for free. I'm not affiliated with this course in any way, but I've recommended it to over a few thousand people now because it's kind of like a full fundamental approach to the scientific research papers that actually show you what makes a person happy. And it's not really anything that we think it is. We always thought it would be like the good body, the money, the status, the house, even the job. And it was so weird. The things that make you happy were things like gratitude, presence, kindness. So it honestly reshaped my entire life, the way I looked at things, the way I prioritized things one by one. Found self-improvement. That's about the time that your video popped off, the 90-day cold showers, no fap, and what's the last one, fasting or
Journaling.
Yeah, that video popped off at the time, and that's when I discovered more and more of self-improvements. But what about you?
For me, our stories are quite similar. I feel like I started to get into lifting, and then I started to get attention from females. And since high school, I was with, I had two friend groups. One friend group I would call the weed kids, where we just smoke all the time. And then the other friend group was like more of the partiers, and we would go out to bars and shit, underage drink. And that was like the story of my life throughout high school and my freshman year of college. Like that was all I was into: binge drinking, shotgunning Four Locos, doing terrible things. And yeah, I remember my mental health not being so great either. And during that time, I was also playing RuneScape, just as you, it's, we've had such a similar journey. And yeah, one thing I do want to bring up about RuneScape, since we're on the topic, is like you were talking about how addicted you were to it, right? So anybody who has like a personality like that, like just wants to be addicted to something that like you see progress in, it's just about using it for the right things, for the actual healthy things. So it's like you still have the addiction of leveling up. It's just you used it for like actually valuable things. And so that's what people need to understand and transfer that type of feeling to. As far as how to do that goes, maybe we can get into that a little bit later. But
what age did you start smoking?
Smoking weed? I started at the end of 8th grade. So
how old is that?
It's a funny story. One of my friends.
Sorry, how old is 8th grade?
I was how old was I?
Like 14.
It was like 13, 14 or something.
Oh my god, goddamn, bro.
Why? When did you start?
Second, third year of university. I was kind of older. I was like 21 or something. Like,
word. Yeah,
doesn't it like mess up your brain like way more if you're younger?
Bro, I don't know. I think I turned out okay. That's all I know. I think I'm all right. But yeah, I had an older sister who would she would smoke a lot. She was a few years older than me. And then one of my friends, close friends at the time, was like, yo, my dad like grows weed and he just like has a bunch in his house. And like I took some and like we made a bong out of like a Gatorade bottle, the typical way to start off, and like smoked it on my bathroom window. And I thought I was high, but I wasn't. I was just like acting high. It was that was a funny way to get introduced to it. But yeah, I think I'm trying to figure out where we were at before this with transitioning to self-improvement. So like sophomore year of college, I started to get into like spirituality and like watching it was like half self-improvement, half spirituality based YouTube channels like Infinite Waters, the Ralph Smart, Aaron Doughty. And then I got like my first ever self-improvement book, which was Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, which I always recommend because I still like, I might be biased, but I still think that's one of the best self-improvement books I've ever read. And
what did it do for you?
It just opened me up to the world of like improving oneself. Like before that, you didn't really think about it at all. It's kind of just like, okay, I'm gonna play video games for a while. I'm gonna like my goals in life were like totally ego based and like just to fuel my insecurities. And then it switched to like, okay, no, I could actually like feel better about myself, be more confident, like I can make my life better. And that kind of that book really opened up the world of that type of way of thinking to me. And so I read that book, and then one day I just had the idea to start the YouTube channel. And I think that really dialed it into me to take it even more seriously, and it just snowballed from there. That's basically my story with it. So yeah, it's I see such a similarity with us, but at the same time, I feel like we disagree on a lot of things, which we're going to get into. I'm
Yeah.
excited for. I feel like when you started your YouTube channel, did you know the vision you had for it back then, like right when you started?
Nah, not at all. I mean, so I started as a entrepreneur first and foremost, and so YouTube was way more of a means of online income and escaping the jobs that I had at the time. And it was always going to be like for a long time it was like gaming YouTube videos that was always on my mind, because I had like a gaming channel when I was like 14, 15. Those videos are still up there as well. You can literally just search DA gaming people, one word, and it's literally 200 videos of me on Minecraft screaming, bro, like high pitched. Like you, every single time I play those videos, everyone's like, "Wait, that's not you! Like your balls haven't dropped." Just me screaming down the mic, like get him, like. And then so imagine like I'm 14 years old and I'm making money from it, man. I was getting paid 50, £100 a month just for those videos, because I was like partnered with some agency at the time. And so I never had the thought that I would do anything other than this. I went through the education system, even university, even graduated with a degree. Never once did it cross my mind that I would get like just normal kind of careers. You know, everyone asks you like what you want to be when you're older. I never even thought about the question, because it was always going to be something like YouTube. Then I kind of forgot about it because of insecurity, and like I really wanted to make a fitness channel after I was a few years into it. And I used to watch like those body transformation videos like almost every, you know, like the motherfuckers taking steroids, but like he says it's like a 6-month progress picture.
Mm-hmm.
And here's me like 6 months in, like wishing like I looked like him. But I'd be watching those videos every single day. And I wanted to start making my own fitness videos, and it was always insecurity. Like I wasn't big enough to make them. And then for me, honestly, like I kind of forgot about YouTube. I graduated. I started like trying to get jobs quickly because I needed money, and I was still living in the city. And that's really when my mental health took a toll. I'm working complaints department in a customer service role, homeless accommodation, and night shift. I hate my life. And I was then pursuing online income for that idea of like becoming a digital nomad, grab your laptop and you can go travel and everything. So I was trying a couple of businesses out at the time, and drop shipping was like the main one, and YouTube was one as well. And the vision that I had is somewhat similar in the sense that, okay, I'd have an audience of people who like me, and I'd be like selling products, I'd be making money online, and I could take my laptop and go traveling. So I'm making that into a reality now. In just 2 months, I've already got the tickets to Thailand, so it's like finally becoming a reality. But it was never really meant to be a movement. I never thought I would be some kind of like leader amongst young men, and I never thought I'd have like this much of a presence up until I read a really, really good book, which still like people bring up to me as a joke, which is the Magic of Wellbeing by David Gerbera, I think, or David J. Schwartz. The Magic of the Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz.
Yeah.
That's the one. And still to this day, people bring up when I tell them my goal, they'll be like, "Wait, that's kind of wonderful. Oh, wait, hang on, you've read The Magic of Thinking Big." And so, but as soon as I read that book, every goal that I had in mind, I 100 times it. And now, like, it just feels completely normal for me to think like I have an influence over hundreds of thousands of young men.
What was the biggest takeaway that you took from that book? Like, what was the thing that stood out the most?
Don't shortchange yourself. The small goal, the medium goal, and the big goal, honestly, they're kind of like the same. Like if there's some kind of like, kind of small goal, but it's going to take a while. Like, let's say there's a student who wants to get a certain grade, like an okay grade in university, and of course it's going to take like 3 years till the end of it. They could set the same goal to get a first, 70%, 80, 90%. And it's like, the time's going to pass anyway, and the amount of effort they have to put in almost isn't really that much different, because you really get the benefit of the compound effect, the momentum, and the snowball effect. And so the idea was, stop changing yourself. Stop setting like these small little bitch goals. And I remember I kept on saying it to myself, like, stop setting these little dick goals, because all of my life it was always like these reasonable. Everyone's telling you to be like, be reasonable and everything. And it just occurred to me, like, bro, no athlete, no great person has ever been reasonable at all. Like, if you want to be like them, you need to set some like big ass goals. The type of goals that, like, I specifically kept this in mind. The type of goals that your friends criticize. The type of goals that if you say it, people say it's cringe. People say like, no, not you. That's how you know you're setting the right level. Now, of course, you 100% you need to take action. But it was so interesting. I found taking action was so much easier and more fun when the goal was bigger. When your goal, like my original goal was always make £500 a month online. And that's like, yeah, I mean, it's nice. And if you're broke and everything, fair enough. But it's like, that's not getting you to jump out of bed. You know what I mean? That's not getting you like fully focused and not checking your phone because you've got priorities. Bro, it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. Then I set one for 10,000 a month and I achieved it in like 6 months after that. That's 10K a month is okay. That's the ultimate like life-changing number. When you make that, it's like you make enough. That's the thing that, okay, it got me out of bed. I'm not like taking this call from this girl at like 7 p.m. It's bedtime now. Have you read the book?
Love that. I haven't, but I've seen it recommended so much. And yeah, I think that I have like unconsciously done things like that, where I've just always known in the back of my mind, like I want to be one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform. And just having that in my mind, I think has pushed me to become someone who creates YouTube videos that a very large YouTuber would make. It's not just going to be me like sitting in my room talking like critical Penguin Zero. I mean, your videos are well edited now, because you have 5 editors. But yeah, I feel like that pushed me to make the types of videos I am now, and also just loving the process of editing and filming, which I think is so necessary if you want to start a YouTube channel, especially at the start where you don't have people you can hire. Do you think that anybody can become an entrepreneur?
Not everyone. Like I'm sure 100% of people couldn't, and of course that kind of like there's jobs that need to be fulfilled by people who aren't entrepreneurs and everything. But the way that I quite often tell my audience, okay, be an entrepreneur, is because chances are, like you, the person listening to this right now, you could be one. The overwhelming chances are that they could. Every time and then I kind of say it quite like abruptly, and everyone criticizes me and they say, oh, but everyone couldn't be an entrepreneur. Not everyone could do what you're doing. Yeah, fair enough. Like we need some like bin men and office. Yeah, of course, fair enough. But that idea is like, bro, hundreds of millions of people aren't, like billions of people aren't watching my videos. The idea is like the people who relate to me, the 20-something-year-old who's watching my videos, like he probably could. If you had the right belief system, the right setup, a sense of luck and privilege, yeah, probably could.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I agree with that. I think that the type of people you attract to your channel are the type of people that could become entrepreneurs. But yeah, I do think we need, those blue collar workers, the people who like build things, make sure things work within our society. Everyone has a certain place. And I think entrepreneurship is just like, it's like the candy in the distance, like this really cool thing, trendy thing that's happening right now is like starting a side hustle and everything, and like just having your own business. It's like the cool thing to do right now. And I think that makes a lot of people live an inauthentic life and kind of question what they really want, rather than just being influenced by what they see online of everybody becoming entrepreneurs or like content creators or doing like that type of lifestyle. I think that a lot of people would come to find that if they tried that, maybe they wouldn't want that. It definitely comes with a lot of freedom and flexibility, but I think it's okay if you don't want to become one. But like you said, I think the vast majority of people that come to your channel are probably people that want to become that, because they're attracted to what you've done. And if they are, and they really resonate with what you say, then yeah, I think that's up their alley,
But it's tricky. And I never gave too many disclaimers, when I would encourage people to be entrepreneurs and to make YouTube channels. I never gave too many disclaimers up until recently. And I literally just had a conversation with a friend in the gym today about this, where he works for his family's business. He wants to make it for himself. He wants to be an entrepreneur. And I said that he was going through what I call it's like phase one of entrepreneurship, is where you have all the desire but none of the action. And for me, that lasted 2 years. And for most people, honestly, I don't know, like how long was it for you? Where like you first had the thought, okay, I want to be like a YouTuber, I want to do something for yourself, but you just kind of like don't really take any action towards it for like a while.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that lasted for quite a while for me. I feel like a few months.
That's actually kind of short from what I've heard from when I speak to people, because we keep the desire. And I think the number one reason is like we've been conditioned to wait for an authority figure to give us a deadline for the work that we have to do. So usually it's been our parents or our teachers. To become that authority figure yourself is actually pretty tricky. Like it seems easy. And so I literally just went on a massive rant. So I recorded a Hamza Unfiltered video today, and I said the title is going to be, "If I got good grades, I would be making 10 times less money right now." And whilst that's true, like, and I know that like a bunch of kids are going to be watching it, and they'll be like, "Yeah, fuck school." I was like, "No, no, bro, fuck you. Like, don't be watching me thinking that you can just suddenly do this. Like, have you been putting an effort into an entrepreneurship? Tell me about your business, bro. No, no, not just like the ideas. Like, how much effort have you been putting in? Because the majority of young people, like, they want this desire, and they're like, yeah, like, the education system is bad. Like, but have you been doing something about this? Have you been like reading the entrepreneurship books? Have you been implementing the steps? Have you been creating the business outside of the work hours? Because it's so easy for you to like watch videos of me and get hyped up about like, yeah, school isn't good for you, and if Hamza went to school he would have gotten, he'd be making a lot less money. But it's like, can you do work by yourself? Most people can't even read. It blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, most people can't even
Mm-hmm.
read. Like they read a sentence and then their mind wanders. Never mind like be able to put in some deep focus work into some random business.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things holding people back is, you talk about it so much, is instant gratification. Just how much everything is so easily handed to us. The things that really spike the right chemicals in our brain, we can access so easily now. And that's not to say that people aren't working as hard anymore, because I don't know if that's true. But I think people just give up so easily, and they don't realize how many years this shit actually takes, like how many failures this shit actually takes to finally get something to work. Like you had all the other type of stuff you used to do before things actually started working. I'm the same way. I was like flipping iPhones on eBay.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, just like, yeah, dude, like just like doing stuff like that, having other types of products I was trying to sell, and like a lot of them didn't work. Like you just have to have just an unwavering resilience to like shit not working. It's like, okay, this is fine. Fuck it. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to keep going anyway. Like that is a mindset you absolutely have to develop. But since we're on this topic, you've done lots of different things for improving yourself. The typical self-help hacks, techniques, habits, whatever. What do you think are the three most impactful that you do? I don't want to say on a daily basis, but it's just the three things you've done that you can like specifically line out that have had the biggest impact on you.
Okay. Number one, weightlifting. Number two, meditation. And number three, reading. What about you?
That sounds pretty similar. I guess I would probably, oh man, because I don't want to skimp out on reading because I think it's so important. But it's either reading or journaling. But meditation and weightlifting for me as well.
Well, what would you say in order?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think weightlifting might be number one. I think that is the order: weightlifting, meditation, and journaling. Or just I wouldn't say weightlifting, but consistent exercise. of some sort.
Why is that number one for you?
Because I think a lot of people wait for motivation or like the right moment where they finally feel like good enough to do the work, whereas taking action first makes you motivated. And the action that makes me the most motivated is increasing my heart rate in some way, getting exercise in, changing my physiology is what changes your mental state. And when you can do that on a consistent basis, dude, it's everything, man. It's literally everything. And then specifically weightlifting, because dude, it feels fucking amazing to lift heavy ass weights, to see the progress in the gym, and to just like feel good about your
Mm.
body and like
It teaches you
have that
so
confidence.
much. Like
Yeah.
once you understand the concept of progressive overload, honestly, you realize, okay, I can do anything that I put my mind to. Then you just have to keep that same progressive overload and just use the same analogy that if you want to be a rapper, a singer, if you want to write a book, if you want to learn to do a backflip, you've got to start with the analogy of like the empty bar for bench press. A lot of people, like, before you really get into weightlifting, you kind of assume you can't do certain things because you're trying to lift, you're trying to bench two plates. But it's like you have to do I know it's autistic, but it's like you've got to visualize, okay, that you start with the empty bar, you put on the 2.5 plates, and every week you try and increase it. For years, you increase it, and that's how you get to heavy weight. You've got to do that with every other habit. It, like weightlifting specifically, but exercise in general, it teaches you about discipline. It teaches you, okay, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it, because for the first couple of months, you don't really want to go to most of those workouts. You're really, really motivated when you first start for a couple of them. And then that's when the soreness kicks, and that's when life gets in the way, and you can't really hit that workout today. And if you don't hit that workout today, even though it seems insignificant, then you're going to quit, and the cycle continues. You get so used to listening to like that little Jeffrey bitch voice in your mind, and actually thinking like, nope, I'm not going to listen to that part of the brain. It's really interesting. I think it's exercise specifically, like going out for a workout, that gets a young man to start challenging his own brain. And I think that's so incredibly important because our brain's been like hooked by like the technology and dopamine and addictions around us, that we want that instant gratification. At least for me, it was the first time when I actually started to like took a step back away from technology to go do something productive, and the confidence it gives you, and you finally like you feel more like a man. You get like, you could be like a shy, timid little video game nerd, but it's like in the gym, like when you've got a pump and you've been listening to music, you'll find yourself kind of like dancing and getting a little bit loud, and it's a beautiful like progress that it puts a man through.
Dude, 100%. 100%. As far as diet goes, I want to ask you this. Have you ever considered going vegan?
More and more, I do want to give it, like, my best friend is vegan, and so we have some like nice conversations about it, and I've never truly like considered it properly, but I'm starting to see like more of the benefits. Like I was one of those like bros. I was so certain, okay, if you go vegan and you don't eat protein and everything, then you're not going to make gains. He's stronger than me. I've got more muscle mass than him, but he's a lot stronger than me. Like every single time we go, if there's a PR that I miss, he hits it all the time. So it really has shown me, like, yeah, like a lot of that, like, sort of, vegans have got low testosterone, they're not making it, bro. All of it's just like bro science BS.
100%. 100%. Hey man, if you ever want to, hit me up, okay? I'll give you the tools.
Sounds good. When did you make the transition?
It was almost 5 years ago now. So yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to do it early enough in my weightlifting journey to where I've actually built most of my muscle as a vegan. So like people online, if they see me and like having a muscular physique, there's no way that they can say, "Oh, you built all your muscle as a meat eater,"
Mm.
like blah 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 blah. Like, because there are a lot of people that love weightlifting and transition into veganism very late in their weightlifting career before like or like after they've made a lot of their gains that they're going to make as a natural. And so that type of criticism is used a lot. But no, I built most of my muscle mass and strength as a vegan. So yeah,
What was the
super
number
dope.
one reason why you wanted to switch over?
Yeah, I get that a lot. So the first reason was actually it was health related. It was selfish of me, but I wanted to try something that could potentially help me in the gym, and I saw a lot of athletes going plant based and the benefits they were seeing from that. And I'm like, you know what, let's try this. I went vegetarian for a little bit first, and then I just went full on vegan after a few weeks. But now, really, I think I stay vegan. Like, I do feel the best I ever have, but like, really, to not eat meat, what really motivates me is like the moral and ethical aspects behind it, because I feel like I have a unique perspective on veganism where like I think what I really am against is factory farming, is
Mm.
how cruelly animals are treated. And a lot of vegans will say there's no humane way to kill an animal, and I suppose that's right, but like this is going to sound like weird to someone who's vegan, but like I have a lot more respect for someone who eats meat that they like hunt on
Yeah.
their own
Mm.
than someone who's like paying for animals to be tortured, like literally put in gas chambers and shit. And like the shit that these documentaries have shown that the animals go through is just like, I do not want to be supporting that industry. But with that being said, I still understand why people eat animals. I do understand it. And I still respect like hardcore vegan activists for how dedicated they are to it. And I think that depending on the person you talk to about veganism, that could be a really effective way to get them to go vegan, is like showing them, is like going out in public and debating people. But for me, that's not the type of way I impact people. The way I impact people is just by like leading by example, is just showing them what I've been able to do on a vegan diet, how healthy I've been, and the physique that I've made. That's my form of activism, I guess. But yeah, that's why I feel like I have kind of a unique perspective on it, because I think that extremists in any movement ruin the movement. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Do you know, from like a meat eater's perspective, like you guys seemed crazy like 10 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly. And like I remember, like me and my family went like a trip to Manchester when I was like a little kid, and there was a couple of guys who were like, being loud and talking about it and handing out flyers. And I remember being grossed out because the flyers had like dead animals who were slaughtered, or the way that they're butchered for meat. And it was such like a creepy thing to discuss. And I remember videos of like how McDonald's gets their chicken nuggets, like the little chickens are just like slaughtered in like a little meat grinder, like whilst they're still alive. And it was all like, I was so certain that no, of course it couldn't really be like that. And now it's like, yeah, like you were right about everything. Honestly, you were all right about like how like grossly cruel like the animal standards are. And from my understanding so far, it doesn't seem like much progress has been made in terms of things like the free range. And there's been movements for that, but it's like they're not that good, are they? Stuff like free range, I'm pretty sure it can be like manipulated by farms, and it's like it's still
Right.
not good enough for.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you see like free range or like cage free, like what that really means is it's bullshit, man. Like it's not like grass fed, organic, free range. It might help a little bit with like the healthiness of it, but like at the end of the day, it's just marketing. Like there's still most animals that are being bought in supermarkets are being tortured and mutilated and tased and all that shit, you know?
Do you think there's truth in? There's a certain argument I've seen which is like, okay, so since the animals go through so much cruelty and pain and suffering and like a bunch of drugs, that can like affect the health of the person who then eats it more than just like what proteins and meat would actually do, but it's more like I would assume, let's say it's like they've got cortisol rushing through their blood and their veins, and we're eating that, and like it's causing ill effects on us because of how bad it is in farms.
I do believe there's some truth to that, because I think we've both gotten into spirituality a little bit, and I do think there's truth behind the type of energy that that animal was feeling when it was killed. And so that's another reason why I feel like, and it's not realistic these days to hunt your own food and shit, but like that's like they're out in the wild, they're probably enjoying a good life, and then they were just killed immediately. And yeah, I do think like all the shit that they're put through in the I can't say this fucking word, man, antibiotics,
That's a
and the
good point.
hormones and shit that
Yeah.
they put in it, it's like then it becomes an
Yeah.
unnatural thing. So yeah, I think there's some truth to that, but just so people aren't getting pissed off right now, there's the opposing side with vegetables as well being sprayed with pesticides and shit, like all of our food nowadays is has like chemicals and shit. It's unavoidable almost. It fucking sucks.
That kind of made me think about technology and just the modern world in general, of like how hard, like we are fighting this uphill battle right now with everything. The smallest things is like our food. I hear shit about like 5G, just the pollution outside, the tap water. Like, bro, it seems like everything's just giving us, I swear, everything gives us cancer these days. And I said this in a video like a month ago. I was saying, like, bro, against like these millions of nerds, like these software developers and the food nutritionists who are making food like addictive and everything, bro, if you're making any progress at all in your self-improvement, well done. Like, it should technically be impossible for you to go against the million nutritionists, the million farmers, the million software developers. As a young man making progress against that, it blows my mind that we still have our ability to like unshackle ourselves from those ill effects.
For sure. I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to ask you this question. What are you most worried about for the next generation of men growing up?
So there's symptoms, and most people I think would answer this question with the symptoms, which is like the obesity and mental health and everything. But really, I think the main issue, the main cause of any problem that we could talk about is fatherlessness.
Okay.
What would your
Can you
answer
elaborate
be?
on that?
Just quickly, what would you say though?
Most worried about?
Yeah. Artificial intelligence.
I think no. I don't know how far that's actually going to go. I don't know. Shit. I wasn't thinking about answering this question. The thing I'm most worried about, I think, is just I guess off the top of my head, I can think of just the decline in testosterone rates. I think people don't realize how big of a problem that is for whatever you identify as. I feel like that is so closely intertwined to everything that men want to do in life, to pursue things, to build things, to just feel happy, like how much it affects your mental health. And also like, people think we're going to overpopulate. And after seeing something with Jordan Peterson, he had some good points, albeit he's a very controversial figure, but he had some good points about how we shouldn't worry about overpopulating. We should worry about us going extinct because of the declining in fertility rates, in how many children people are having and everything, and like the separation of just the traditional family. And there are a lot of criticisms to be made about the traditional family, of course, but still just doing what humans are kind of made to do, which is to pass on their genes. That's kind of a fundamental human need, I feel like, and we're going to become less and less able to fulfill that. And I don't know, it is worrisome. It's worrisome to me. I think that is.
He said that half of women over 30 don't have children. I think that's the statistic, but it's never been that high.
That
before.
Sounds right. That sounds about right.
You mentioned testosterone. I think that is a big part, but I think it's what's somewhat linked to testosterone, which is sperm count in men. That's dropping so damn fast, and it's just occurred to me, get a sperm test ASAP. Like, I think we should all like just. I don't know if there is. I've not looked too much into this. I don't know if there's like remedies and solutions or something if you find out you're a young man with like a poor sperm count or something. But I think if you acknowledge that fatherhood is perhaps like one of the most important things that you'll do, then it's really worth for us to take this seriously, because I think the stat is that our sperm count of this generation is about 50% less. So half of what it was just the generation before us. And it just keeps like, it just compounds like that. Testosterone rates were, I believe, more than double what they are now. It's not looking good for our generation at all.
Yeah. You got to wonder what type of impact this is going to have. You really do. But yeah, let's talk more about just your channel. I really want to get into it because we had a video call before this podcast, and we were kind of talking about how we found each other out. I saw you blow up out of nowhere. The algorithm's just pushing you. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, fuck this guy, Like that, I felt that come out in me. I'm going to be completely real with you. I felt that come out in me in a way that I feel like it's just never come out of me before with like any other self improvement YouTuber. And
I felt the
that,
same way when I saw your video blow up.
dude, that's I think that's super interesting. Like the dynamic that we have, I think it's because we have so much in common. We can like relate to each other's backstories. It's just like we're very much the same person, but in just like a completely different light. Like we're each other's complements in a lot of ways. And I think that itself is like looking at a version of you in a way that's like you want to be and you're jealous of in a way, you know? Because I definitely, dude, it was all ego. It was jealousy. Like, of course, bro. Like, I love YouTube. I want to be the best, you know?
Yeah.
And I see this dude come out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck? So I want to preface what I'm gonna like talk about in this next section of the podcast by saying that, because at the end of the day, come on, man, I do love you. I love what you do.
Thank you.
I super respect you. I think what you're doing definitely has a net positive on the world. But with that being said, I got a bone to pick with you.
Let's do it.
So I first want to talk about you creating a cult. So that was something I didn't even realize, because like also in the video call we did, I don't know, a few weeks ago, you were talking about how like you've been planning this for a while, like creating a cult. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked back and I saw the video where you literally outlined how you're going to be creating a cult. It's literally named like, I'm making a cult. Here's my, like, what is the title? Here's my honest plan. I'm like, no fucking way. Like he literally created this like multi-level marketing plan. And I think the idea of having a cult is so good for marketing. I will say that, but I do not like the fact that you call it a cult and you call yourself a cult leader, because cults by definition discourage free thinking. It's basically like you're saying you need to subscribe to this ideology, which with you is the Jeffrey versus Adonis. It's like you're trying to create this ideal man that everybody should strive for, which I think there's so many more different ways to become an Adonis than what you say. And I don't like the idea of people like blindly following you and like not questioning your things. But I have seen your followers question some of the things you've said, which is good. But the biggest thing is like cults discourage free thinking. It kind of makes you like a devoted follower to whoever this dude is or leader is. And that's great for marketing. But I just so much try to promote in my channel, like free thinking and like questioning even what I say. But the thing is, you know, people need something to believe in. They need direction too. And so if I was just like all the time, like, oh, you shouldn't believe what I say, like, or if I just didn't have confidence in what I was saying, then who the fuck would want to listen to me, you know? So there's that. There's the two extreme sides to it, to like not being confident in anything you say, you should question everything I say, and having a cult-like aspect to things. And the cult-like aspect of things is specifically what I'm talking about. I'm going on a tangent here, but that I don't like about what you do. I just think, yeah, it's mostly just about encouraging free thinking more and telling people that they should become the greatest version of themselves, whatever that means to them. Don't strive for Adonis, or like, hey, if you do these things, then you're a Jeffrey, then you are a loser. If you do these things, you are a loser. If you do these things, you're a great person. So that's kind of my criticism with the whole cult-like following.
That's a really good insight. And you make very, very good points. But I think we right now, me and you, we have the bias of where we're at in our self-improvement journey. And you must remember like how hard it was like the younger version of Cole, younger version of Hamza, and those guys who are there right now when they're in like that depression, like fully addicted stage. Like they need as much. They need a leader who's got that level of conviction. This like modern day wishy washy, like, oh, you could believe me if you want, hee like, yeah. The thing is, like, I hope I do display a lot of like humility. That's one of the main skills that I really keep in my mind: humility and humbleness. And I do actually make videos every now and then, not often at all, but like every now and then I kind of make a video to say like, yeah, you should be disagreeing with me. You should like, obviously it's a bit of comment farming where you say, like, oh, you know, if you disagree, like write something in the comments. But these young men, they're so far gone that if you tell them like, oh, but I might be wrong, it's like, okay, they'll go watch someone else. So,
Right.
like you said, there's a net positive, and for a lot of guys, there's actually kind of a very big net positive. Really, the disadvantage, the main disadvantage we can say is that someone might get more pleasure from not listening to me because they don't want to like give up video games because, you know, they're fed up with the idea of like, oh, but that doesn't make me a Jeffrey because I want to play video games. It's like, yeah, like fair enough, you know, it sounds like kind of cultish, it sounds like I'm really forcing it onto you, but like you were going to become a better person by following this. And 100% there's toxic traits in it, but that exemplifies the type of person who I am. It is like a reflection of myself, but there's way more of a positive impact from being cold-hearted and just saying like, nope, this is the way it is. If you want to reach the glorious days, if you want to reach that beautiful moment of becoming more like Adonis, then do exactly like this. If you tell them like, oh no, you could do something like that if you wanted, but I don't really know. But people aren't going to follow you. People will then just kind of like, they'll just think you're wishy-washy and they'll go follow someone else who's so certain. That's why extremely polarizing people are really all you ever see online. That's truthfully like the success. This is the second major reason of my success. The first reason is just my editors, really. But the second major reason is just how polarizing I am. There is no one who's like, oh, like Hamza, like, he's no, there's, bro, you either love me or you hate me. That's it. A lot of people feel both ways. You love me or you hate me. Either way, you're watching the videos.
It's a fact. It's a good way to put it because, yeah, it's like I said, people need direction and something to believe in and someone to provide that with such confidence and certainty that it's like there's no way that I could question this. But I think at first, so when I first found you, it was before I saw the videos where you did say stuff like, I'm just an idiot with a camera, and I really thought you were totally devoted to like saying everything I say is fucking right, okay? But the more that I watch you, I feel like, yeah, I see that other good side of you come out, and that's when people like start to understand you. But yeah, and you know, I've had that similar relationship. I'm probably oh boy, probably shouldn't say this, but
Go on.
you know Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Like, I used to fucking hate that guy. And, you know, he's got some terrible takes and terrible things he says. But the more I watch him, I'm like, I don't know, bro. Like, he's he's funny. He's just a funny guy. Like, he's so
He
certain in what he
captivates
says.
your attention.
Yeah. And you have that skill to a very high degree.
Mm.
And so,
you know, I'd actually say that's something that you lack in. Like, you're a very like balanced person, which technically is like it's the healthiest way, but it's like no one's gonna like click off a Cole video and think like, oh, he's a jackass. But the truth is, bro, when they think that, like, they're gonna keep watching, bro.
It's true. No, you make a good point. Fuck, man. Yeah, no,
be more of a jackass, bro.
I feel like I was too. Maybe even I feel like I was even more of a little bit of a jackass in that era where I like was talking about semen retention and nofap. And I guess I don't know. I just started when I started to question my own beliefs. I like told people to do the same, and I don't want to say I say things without certainty, but yeah, it's like you said, it's a very balanced approach, but I don't. Oh man, I don't know if I want to. Honestly, I know it's really good for having like a really devoted following and everything, but can I really say something that I'm talking about and promoting will work for everybody and is great for everybody and this is what everybody should do?
I
You
think
know,
that's
that's
your
kind of
issue. You said your goal is like, okay, you'd like to be like one of the biggest YouTubers, and so right now you're marketing it to everyone. And so if you do that, you have to stay like in that safe zone middle where it's like applicable to all kinds of people. My videos are only for younger Hamza. If you like him,
mm,
then they'll really help you, because I will tell you for a fact what helped younger Hamza, because like I know for 100% certainty. That's why like I speak with so much conviction. It's not a lie. It's not fake or anything. It's just like I know what helped him. My videos are just for my younger self. If you're similar to him, fantastic. If you're not, then I'm sure there's other channels you can watch. And what you realize is like there's a lot more people who are similar to the younger version of yourself than you think. I think because
mhm.
you've kept your target audience as so broad, you can't really be too sure of like, you can only really talk about the total truths of life, which is like, the fundamental truth, which is like, yeah, like meditation is good for you, exercise is pretty good for you, just don't overdo it. Whereas like if you spoke, let's say, for exactly like younger Cole, you'd be telling him like, stop watching porn already, like stop playing video games and start like get your ass into the gym, become a vegan. You'd be saying it with like so much more tenacity, with so much more like conviction, because you know what
Mm,
works for him.
mm.
But then are you
The thing
scared
is
to
there's
like scare some people away?
right. And I definitely would. Yeah, I feel like I would be. That's a problem I have. But there are outliers to that. I feel like, look at channels like Nathaniel Drew, Better Ideas. They talk about very basic, broad things that would appeal to practically everybody, and yet they have very large followings. So why do you think
No,
that is?
to be honest, I don't want to put them down, but I am like an egotistical person. I've compared my numbers with everyone, and it's like
Hmm.
their engagement's actually very, very low for their subscriber counts. So I don't mean to give them a dig, but it's like they don't have like a very engaged following. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they get like less engagement than what we had on my channel at like half as many subscribers as we have today. So, and it really, you see that with like major channels. With every big channel that I look into, 1 million subscribers, 2 million subscribers, they get about the same level of engagement as we do right now, because they're a lot more safe. I started my channel specifically because of you, better ideas. Honestly, I looked at you guys and I was like, they don't speak in filtered enough. They're not pissing off enough people. Like, I'm gonna come onto the camera and literally say, okay, here's the crimes I committed, here's the degenerate shit I did, here's the awful like activities I did, here's like, but I don't just say like, oh, I used to take drugs. On my videos, like I tell you exactly what drug it was, where I was sat, the way I would do it, the girl I had next to me. I'd tell you everything. And so it's extremely polarizing. Like I said, bro, the engagement's so high with this. People are hooked onto it because people want to see like the true lives of someone. They don't just want to hear someone say like, oh, like, I used to procrastinate or not. They want to know like how many times a day you were jacking off, because they can relate to it when you say like, oh yeah, like 6, and I'd start first thing. As soon as I'd wake up, I'd fuck my bed sheets. And that was the first nut of the day. And it's weird as fuck, but it's like, bro, there's a few thousand young men who are relating to that, and they're never going to forget that some YouTuber just said it on their video. So I like their channels, and they make very good content and quite like extremely like well put together videos, like your videos, Nathaniel Drew, Better Ideas, Matt Diavella. Like, you guys make beautiful videos, but I think I don't really see you guys like leading movements. I don't see you guys like, you can say like, oh, we've got a community here, but it's more like social media, like kind of like just chat. It's like there isn't like a huge sense of like community amongst the followers. It's just kind of like, oh, the followers look up to you as the leader. They're not kind of like doing much together, because they aren't brought by the same values. They aren't brought by the same goal and the same like vision. Okay, we want to become more like Adonis. We don't want to be like Jeffrey.
I do think I do a lot of what you're describing with relatability. I tell very specific stories of my life, but I still think the thing that you mentioned that is like holding me back from having that crazy engagement audience is the balance. So I guess it's just like the question of if I want to, but I
The,
guess I'll
uh,
have to. No, no,
I know about it,
you talk.
but the way that I saw it is you'll be helping more people this way. Because if you
Mm,
can almost see it
mm,
as a fact, okay, the audience size is going to grow, the engagement is going to grow, more people would be helped. Now, it sounds
mm.
weird to say like, okay, the balance, it applies to more people, but essentially it kind of makes you like somewhat irrelevant if you stay too safe and people don't really remember you and engagement goes down. So you could play it safe and you could be like more objectively right in terms of everyone's views and less criticism towards you, and you'd help, let's say, 1,000 people. But if you go on way more of the extreme end, polarization, you say some things that's going to offend some people, you push harder on things like veganism, on like the things that you really believe in, semen retention, journaling, and you start saying like, come on, like, why are you not journaling? You're wasting time on something else. You just talk in more of it like an aggressive way. You'll piss some people off. It might feel a little bit different from your identity, but what you're going to find is that people who are going to resonate with you, now they're coming in like drones because you're actually speaking to them in the way that they're thinking like, oh, fuck, like, yeah, I should be journaling, or, I should consider veganism now.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good ass way to put it.
Welcome to the cult.
No.
That was easy. We got him, boys.
Fuck. Someone clip it. One other thing I did want to talk about with your channel, there's one reel specifically, but you've been promoting this guy. Who knows how old he is? I think his name's like Trad West. Was that what it is? Yeah. So one reel you reposted with him, it was like the world offers you blah, 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 blah. And one of them was Pride, and it was Lil Nas X with like a pink cowboy costume on. Do you see that as a problem? Do you see like, because to me, when I saw that, I'm like, this dude is probably like a young teenager who's like kind of homophobic. Like I for the most part, I like those types of reels, and like I think they're motivating to people. But that was just like, that was questionable.
I really like his reels. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really like the edits. When I'm watching them, it kind of makes me want to go like do a crusade or something. But
yeah, right.
Like you said, he there is like questionable parts, and especially like when I was first looking through the reels and I started posting them to my channel, like I asked him for permission and everything. Like I started like cropping some of them out because, like at the end, like it's like a picture of like Jesus or something. And he says, "I am your savior." It's like a bit much, and so. I wouldn't say I'm homophobic. I'm not against like any sexuality. It's something that I honestly, I've had zero thoughts about over my entire life. So it's nothing of my own personal preference. The reason why I posted it, and I do kind of like the idea of the video, is because it's like the 7 deadly sins, and pride is like, it is a sin. Pride is like the opposite of, pride is the cause of ego. It's the opposite of humility. I think in this case, it's like he's related pride to like, I assume like the Pride Festival or something. So it's like a bit different. I would have thought pride is more like, in the religious terms for Christ, it's kind of like you take the accomplishment of something as your own accomplishment instead of it being handed to you by God. And in the self-improvement idea, it's more like we shouldn't have so much pride because that blinds you. It heightens your ego and it blinds you from the areas that you still need to improve on. So it is, I'll be truly honest, when I posted it, I was like, there's been times where I've posted this shit and I've fully like cropped half of it out because I don't like, I've got like nothing to say at all. Like I couldn't even tell you anything in terms of support or against things like LGBT or gays or anything, because it's something that I literally have zero thoughts about personally.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I think the dude who made it just used it in the wrong way. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, this just discredits what you just made. And I just wanted to bring it up. But it seems like you didn't see it as that way. So it's understandable. Let's end off the podcast talking about a few questions that I pretty much ask everybody who's on this podcast. What are the 3 books that have impacted you the most in your life?
The first 3 that I read. So The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss, and How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think they caused the biggest change, most likely simply because they were like the first ones that kind of led to, reading more and everything. So that's got like a heavy like value bias towards it. But the 2 business books, The Millionaire Fastlane, The 4-Hour Workweek, is the reason why I literally have like this business, this freedom today. And I was in Amsterdam. I did like a little cult meetup, and a guy actually brought out like a hardback version of The 4-Hour Workweek for me to sign for him. I literally grabbed the book and like I got sort of like really emotional. I was like, I showed it to everyone. Like we had like 30 guys come see me. I showed them all. I was like, boys, like this is the reason I'm here. It's a fucking Thursday. Like I should be working like some random job in like Manchester. This is the reason why I'm in Amsterdam. Like I work 2 hours. Like I thought the 4 hour work week. I thought it was literally like specifically like you were supposed to aim for the 4 hours. I didn't realize it was just a play on words. So I literally aim for 4 hours. I work like 2.5 hours a week now. So I was just showing the boys, like, boys, this is why I'm here. And the Millionaire Fastlane, MJ DeMarco, and the second book he has as well, Unscripted, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Entrepreneurship. If you're currently somewhat in like the rat race, you want to like quit the 9 to 5, you hate that like type of lifestyle, bro, you read MJ DeMarco's works. He sets it all out for you. This is like a guy who's like not a normal finance guru who tells you like, get good grades, get a good job, and then invest in the 401k, and maybe you'll get to retire 5 years earlier. He laughs at those people and says like they're just weird, like trying to save like a few dollars a week, just trying to save their way to wealth. Because bro, I know I'm going on a rant, but I fucking hate the financial gurus that I see. Like, I'll even call them out, man. I don't remember their names, but like, I Will Teach You to Be Rich is the book of one of them, and it's recommended by so many people. I think it's just stupid, bro. I think all of the financial advice that young people are being given, which is like, be a good boy for 50 years and invest in a 401k and don't spend money, don't buy coffee. Like it's just like a weird circle jerk where it's like a multi-level marketing strategy. Everyone's just telling young people to invest in like index funds where it's like the highest price it's ever been. There has to be a crash soon, and everyone's saying like, oh no, but it's still good to invest right now. And I have to discredit this and say, oh, but I'm not a financial investor or something. But the one thing I can tell you for certain is that the people who are telling you that investing is the best way to wealth made their money through a business. They made all their money through a business or through a book or through some kind of being an influencer. And then what you do is you maintain / slightly increase your money through safe investments like index funds. Telling a young person like, oh, just start with $50, bro. You're not gonna make anything from that. Save that $50. Buy 3-4 books for yourself first. Those books are gonna have a huge ROI. Get yourself some therapy. Get like a coach with like some business that you want to make. Like telling people to invest in like index funds, it pisses me off, Brad. Every time, this is like one of the few things that I can rant about for like 20 minutes straight because I think it's such stupid advice. And MJ DeMarco in these books, like he goes in on them and just says like they're either all broke or they're rich because they made a business first, and they're telling you to invest in the same vehicle that they're investing in. It's a bit dodgy.
Mm-hmm.
What's the 3 books for you?
That's true. For me, I feel like I have that value bias as well. With like the earlier on, I read them, like the more impact they had. So Tools of Titans, definitely. This is in no particular order. I'm thinking Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which is a good one, but
never got into it personally.
Really?
I think
I saw you reading it.
Yeah, I got 2 copies behind me. One of the guys
something.
in the Amsterdam meetup brought one for me, and I've got 2 versions on my Kindle. Never liked it. I'll be totally honest. I don't know if I'm just like not made out for it or something, but I read it. I'm like, what's the hype about? It's weird as fuck reading it.
I can totally understand that. It's written in that way where it might not be for everybody or impact everybody in the same way. I feel like there's a lot. I mean, that's how a lot of books are, a lot of self-help books. But the one that I like apply the most principles from, I guess we could say, would probably be How to Win Friends and Influence People, because it's just like it's so applicable and you use it every day. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go with that one because yes, it was great. It was really great. The Power of Now was also pretty big for me by Eckhart Tolle. That really taught me about
Presence.
a different way to meditate and just thinking about myself in the world and how I relate to everybody else, I guess. So yeah, there's that one. And the other question I have for you is, if you could put up a billboard somewhere for everybody to see, what would it say and why?
Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.
Fuck. I forgot about that sentence when I asked that, and I shouldn't even have asked it because I knew that was coming. But why would you put that up?
You do that. You follow that phrase, bro. You can do everything else. That's the core of discipline, and you need at least like, let's say, a level 10 in discipline to like do anything else in your life. You want to be productive, you want to study, you want to go to the gym, you want to eat clean, you want to meditate. Anything you've learned in self-improvement, entrepreneurship, any relationship, anything you want to do comes with at least a little bit of discipline. And discipline is all about just defying the Jeffrey brain, like the lizard brain inside of you that says like, oh no, like we're too tired to go to the gym right now. Or like, oh no, like don't read the book, like scroll on Instagram. Maybe there's some ass on there. What would you have it say?
I haven't thought about this one either. I've asked it so many times. You're going to die. I think it's important to
Meditate on your death.
Meditate on your death.
I love that.
Memento mori. Just contemplate about it and be like, yo, you got one shot at this. Eventually, everything you know, everyone you know is going to be complete nothing. And so you might as well just make the most of it. That's the way I see it. Other people see that as in a negative perspective. And a lot of life is just perspective, is just taking a situation that most people would see as negative or bland or gray. And what a lot of people don't realize is the reason they see that perspective is because of the culture we're raised in, the way they've been programmed, brought up. And instead seeing things like that in a really positive perspective as a way to motivate you. And I think contemplating your existence and death can be a huge motivator with the right perspective. So that's what I would say.
I just started writing a script this morning. It's going to be titled "Your Parents Are Getting Older," and I'm going to say wake up and just visualize your parents' death, and now go give them a hug.
Mm-hmm. That's super important. I love that. But yeah, I think that's it. Hamza, great stuff. Great podcast. I will be closely following you as usual. Am I a cult member? I don't know about that. I don't know if I subscribe to everything, but maybe I'll have to start my own cult. Who knows? After the advice.
If we see your YouTube growth just skyrocket now, I know you're doing something, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Every video I'm going to click on yours now.
Advice.
Hamza is
just completely criticizing why Hamza's cult is garbage. Some shit like that.
You got to make your own characters now. Meat eaters are losers.
Oh yeah. No shot I would do that on my channel, but yeah, this was great, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And for those people who don't know you, who want to find you, where can they find you?
Just go onto YouTube and search Hamza, Hamza. I'll be the first one.
Word.
Mic drop.
I'll be the first one, bitch. And then on Instagram.
Yeah, Hamza97X. I post like a little day in the life, like self-improvement day, like pretty much every single day. So obviously on YouTube, you only really see like me preaching, and you see like, the creator's sort of like message. On Instagram, you see my like raw, unfiltered, like what I'm doing with my day, literally what time I wake up, what time I go to sleep, what I'm eating for food, what the girls I'm meeting, the friends I'm chilling with, everything. So if you're interested in like more realistic day in the life stuff, then Instagram might be better for you.
Dope. All right, man.
Thank you for having me, Cole.
And signing off.